Hello folks, welcome back. Well, I have done it again. So the other day I went yard selling and stopped by this one particular yard sale, and there was a lady and had this she had three go-kart frames sitting out there, but this one here in particular really caught my attention, and I'll tell you why. The frame is really well built, okay, and it's basically, the frame is two pieces, and it's got a pivot point right there that ties the two frames together, and then right back here underneath the seat it's got two real heavy duty coil springs. So in other words, the go-kart has suspension. Now that to me is like really cool. I mean, it's not just something you see every day. The back end does have a live axle, okay. It's got a band style brake. It's got the split sprocket, so you can change it out without having to remove the wheel. But that thing is wore out, it's warped, and I've ordered some parts for this. They have come in, so we are going to be changing that sprocket out. First thing though, we got to get this damn thing apart. It's all rusted up, and if you know anything about it, it can be very difficult to disassemble one of these when it's, everything is so rusty. But anyway, now on the front end up here, it's really heavy duty, well built. The steering has no slack in it. That's another rarity. Now it does have good heavy duty bearings on all four wheels. But it's going to need some work. It needs a brake cable. It's going to need a throttle cable. Obviously, it needs an engine on it. That old tore up, bent, rusty steering wheel, the seat needs to be recovered. It all needs to be repainted. And anyway, that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. My name is Mark. So I've had this channel now for going on about 2 years. I guess I've got probably around 150 videos out there. If you do like this content, please subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and welcome to the channel. So you may be able to see this is really warped. I thought about trying to straighten it, but I think we're just going to go ahead and put a new one on there. It's not the one that I bought, is not going to be the same style. It's not going to be a 35 chain neither. It'll be 40, and so it'd be a little heavier duty chain, a little bit heavier duty sprocket. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we got to get this thing apart, so we can get the sprocket on there, and once we do that, I think we'll start putting the engine on there.
It's the new rack on it, and then either upgrade this part that he made or something just to help hold this whole setup down, because that rack, you use a different rack now, and those racks are good as long as you brace them good. You know that, and you know.
Okay, so the sprocket's a little bit smaller than the sprocket that was on the go-kart, but I don't think that's going to matter, and I'll tell you why. Because this go-kart did not have a torque converter on it originally, and we are putting a torque converter on it. So it's going to give it a lot more low-end torque. Matter of fact, we could end up wanting to put an even smaller sprocket on here than this one. But I think this will work for now. We'll get the thing going. That way we can see, you know, what it's going to do. Okay, so you might can tell we already have a problem here. The motor is setting down too low. Somehow we're going to have to lift this engine, which means we're going to be building another motor mount. And the reason that it's doing this is because it had a centrifugal clutch. Okay, it was not set up for a torque converter. But I think that it's going to be a lot better project, a lot better go-kart if it's got a torque converter on it. Okay, so with the sprocket all the way in, that engine still needs to come out a good inch, maybe more, in order for, you know, for the chain and the sprockets to all line up. That is not going to work. So it still forces me to have to build a bracket to scoop this engine plate out. Okay, as you can see, I've got the slots and the motor mount bolts. They're lined up right where they need to be. So this has to go that way somehow. To be honest with you, I would prefer if the engine was mounted in the center of the go-kart to balance out the weight, which means this air brake would have to be moved. Now, I did buy another brake, a new brake, so let's set it up. Let's put this engine over into the middle and see what we'd have to do in order to put this here sprocket back in here somewhere. Okay, we may have to cut one of these tubes out. So I'll get everything moved over. We'll come back and take a look at it. Okay, folks, I think I've got it figured out. In order to put this here sprocket right there in that hole where it'll line up, we're going to have to cut that little piece of square tubing out. Okay, and we may just move it over somewhere or whatever. And then we're not rubbing there, but it's really close, as you can see. But you know, we could cut this tube out and just bring it over this way a little bit, weld it right back in there, and I think we'd be good to go. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and we need to completely pull out this axle so that we can get everything freed up, get all the rust off everything, and get this sprocket moved over to there. So that's what we're going to do. All right. Whew, I am glad to see that move. Okay, so y'all keep your fingers crossed. We will really be lucky if we can get these Allen screws in here to come loose. They are rusty really bad. And it's starting to wallow out. Nope. Okay, so we may have to warm them up with a cutting torch. There it went. Well, I'm getting it, but slow but surely. There we go. Okay, so we got to do the other one. Okay, folks, we got it. And it was as difficult as the other one. Good thing I was able to move the axle over. Let me tell y'all something, if you don't know, if you've never done one of these and you're going to attempt it, there's nothing easy about taking out these old axles. Okay, these axle collars and everything gets rust, and those set screws, and it's just real tedious. It's real frustrating, and you just want to take a sledgehammer to it. But don't do that. If you just take a cutting torch and heat things up and take your time. It took me about an hour to get these loose. Now I still got to get the bearings to move, okay? But now that I've got these collars out of the way, I think it's going to be, hopefully, not too big of a deal to move these bearings over. And then we'll be able to get this thing apart so that we can cut these tubes out of the way and get everything put back together the right way. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, folks, we are done for today. I'm all out of time. I got a big ribeye steak cooking on the grill. It's time to go in for dinner. Anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see about getting all this put together. And so anyway, appreciate y'all joining me. Talk to you later.